Behind every locked door lies a story the world was never meant to hear. Welcome to Behind Bars TV, where we uncover the hidden realities of the world's toughest prisons, untold inmate experiences, and the systems built to contain them. From Supermax facilities to forgotten penitentiaries, we reveal the truth behind concrete walls and razor wire. This is not fiction. This is the world behind bars.
The prison the world can't stop watching. In a tiny nation smaller than New Jersey, a man declared war, not on a country, but on fear itself. He built a prison so vast, so impenetrable, that critics call it a human warehouse, and supporters call it salvation. Welcome to El Salvador's mega prison, where the world's toughest gangs are buried alive. The Fortress of Control. In 2023, President Nayib Bukele unveiled his masterpiece, the Centro de Confinamiento del Terrorismo, or CECOT. It wasn't just a prison, it was a message. 8 massive cell blocks, 37 watchtowers, capacity for 40,000 inmates, all gang members. Located in a remote valley guarded by mountains and military bases. Bukele called it the largest prison in the Americas. Human rights groups called it a monument to fear. Every inch of CECOT was designed for submission. No windows, no yard time, no sunlight, no contact with lawyers or families. Just metal, discipline, and silence. We used to fear them, Bukele declared during the opening ceremony. Now they fear us. Outside, supporters cheered. Inside, inmates stared at walls painted the same color as ash. A nation under siege. Before Bukele built his super prison, El Salvador was one of the most violent countries on earth. In 2015, the homicide rate soared above 100 per 100,000 people, higher than in some war zones. MS 13 and Barrio 18 divided the nation street by street. Extortion, murder, and fear were daily currency. Bus drivers paid gangs just to survive the day. People stopped leaving their homes after dark. Whole neighborhoods became ghost towns. When Bukele came to power in 2019, he promised to take back the country. At first, his methods looked modern: digital governance, social media campaigns, military coordination. But by 2022, after a single bloody weekend that left 87 people dead, he announced a state of exception, and the war changed. The state of exception. Under Bukele's state of exception, constitutional rights were suspended. No warrants, no due process, no lawyers. In just months, El Salvador arrested more than 75,000 people. Overnight, prisons burst past capacity, and CECOT was built to contain the overflow. We're not fighting crime, Bukele said. We're erasing it. To many citizens tired of decades of terror, he became a hero. For human rights groups, he became a warning. Reports emerged of beatings, torture, and arbitrary arrests. Families searched for sons who vanished overnight. Inside CECOT, no one was ever seen again, not in court, not on camera. The world called it the Bukele Model. El Salvador called it peace. Inside the machine, international media were invited once for a tour filmed by the Salvadoran government itself. The footage went viral. Inmates kneeling in lines like dominoes, guards with rifles towering above them, the floor polished and cold. Cells hold 100 men, each given a concrete slab to sleep on. Toilets are holes in the ground. No daylight. No yard time. LED lights burn 24 hours a day. No books, no pens, no letters. The only words allowed are orders. They won't see the sun again, Bukele tweeted. Let them pay for what they did. Supporters called it justice. Critics called it dehumanization. One international observer wrote, "It's a modern cathedral of punishment, a monument to fear and efficiency." The numbers of power. By 2024, El Salvador's murder rate had fallen by over 80%. Neighborhoods once ruled by gangs now welcomed street markets and soccer games. Bukele's approval soared above 90%, the highest in the Western Hemisphere. He posted before and after videos. Graffiti walls turned into parks, gunfire replaced by music. The message was clear: fear works. But under the numbers lies a question no one can ignore. What price did El Salvador pay for peace? We built safety, one citizen said. But did we sell our soul for it? The silence inside. Inside CECOT, silence is law. Inmates are forbidden from speaking unless spoken to. Guards call it absolute control. Inmates call it buried breathing. Every morning begins the same way. 4 a.m., blinding lights turn on. 4:05, guards march in formation, rifles at chest level. 4:10, steel doors open, and orders echo through loudspeakers. Hands on your head, eyes down, do not speak. Each day blends into the next. Meals are cold, unseasoned, rationed. Toilets are shared by 100 men, surrounded by cameras. There are no visits, no mail, no sound except the command voices bouncing off concrete. One guard said off record, "We don't punish individuals here. We punish the idea of rebellion." The prison without faces. The gangs that once ruled entire neighborhoods, MS-13 and Barrio 18, are now stripped of their identity. Their tattoos once symbolized rank, loyalty, death. Now, they mean nothing. Inside CECOT, all prisoners wear the same white shorts. No shoes. No jewelry. No colors. Even their skin becomes uniform under the fluorescent glare. Bukele's message was clear. Individuality is power. Power is forbidden. Psychologists describe it as mass depersonalization, a method used to erase the gang mindset by erasing the person. "They took away my name," wrote one prisoner through a smuggled note. "Now I'm just another shadow in the system." For the public, the image is perfect. Thousands of tattooed bodies kneeling in silence, order, dominance, fear. For those inside, it's the end of identity itself. The soldiers of Bukele. Outside the prison, soldiers patrol like guardians of a new empire. Bukele calls them the People's Army. They guard not just walls, but ideology. No journalist can enter CECOT without permission. No camera can film without government approval. Inside, guards operate under military command. Every movement is rehearsed. Every response scripted. "We're not guards," one officer told an undercover reporter. "We're soldiers on a psychological battlefield." Recruits undergo conditioning, weeks of silence drills, standing for hours under blazing heat. They are taught not to speak, only to obey. The government's message, control starts from the top. But control has a cost. Burnout rates are high. Some guards quit after weeks, saying they dream of walls and chains at night. Yet, in Bukele's system, obedience isn't just policy, it's sacred. The propaganda factory. Bukele's power doesn't just come from guns, it comes from images. Every arrest, every transfer, every shot of inmates chained together becomes part of a cinematic production. His government live streams operations like episodes in a crime series. When the first 2,000 prisoners were moved into CECOT, the footage went viral. Aerial drones, cinematic cuts, dramatic music. A real-life show called The War on Terrorists. "We are changing El Salvador's image," Bukele tweeted. "From the most dangerous country in the world to the safest." Billboards across the capital displayed CECOT like a tourist attraction. The president's social media accounts posted before and after shots of gang members versus soldiers. This isn't just incarceration, it's branding. And it worked. The world couldn't look away. Foreign leaders visited to learn the Bukele model. Even in prisons abroad, inmates whispered, "Have you seen the place in El Salvador? That's where fear lives now." The price of order. Outside the walls, not everyone is cheering. Tens of thousands of families claim their sons were arrested without proof. Farmers, students, street vendors, anyone with tattoos or suspicious behavior. They line up outside detention centers, begging for information. Most are told nothing. "We're not criminals," one mother said. But in this country, silence is safer than truth. Reports surfaced of mass burials, unmarked graves, bodies released to families months after arrests, bruised, starved, broken. Still, fear keeps people quiet. Because in Bukele's El Salvador, to question authority is to risk vanishing into the same system. The price of order is silence. And in CECOT, silence is survival. The economy of fear. Bukele promised CECOT would end the gang economy. No phones, no drugs, no communication. But fear, like money, always finds a way to move. Within months, guards began whispering about the invisible market. Tiny favors traded for survival. A little more rice, a softer mat, a minute of conversation. Those with connections outside the walls still managed to reach inside, not with weapons, but with dollars. The system adapted. Corruption mutated. Even in hell, one anonymous guard admitted, there's someone selling fire. While public tours showed a world of control, deep inside, small cracks in the machine appeared. Bribes for extra food, contraband cigarettes, even smuggled notes written on toilet paper. The gangs were broken physically, but their network, their logic, lived on like a virus waiting for new hosts. The whistleblower. In early 2025, an anonymous guard leaked classified information to an independent journalist. He called himself Sombra, the Shadow. He claimed CECOT wasn't just a prison. It was a testing ground. According to his testimony, biometric tracking, AI monitoring systems, and psychological scoring were being used on inmates to predict obedience, an algorithm for control. They're building data profiles, he said. Every reaction, every heartbeat, every second of compliance, all stored, all analyzed. The government denied everything. But documents leaked weeks later showed contracts with private surveillance firms, coded under behavioral compliance analysis. El Salvador wasn't just exporting security anymore. It was exporting a system. Exporting the Bukele Model. By mid-2025, CECOT had become El Salvador's most powerful export. Delegations from Honduras, Ecuador, and Kenya visited to learn the model. They were shown the same images the world saw. Silence, obedience, order. Bukele's media team filmed every handshake, every speech, every photo op. He wasn't just a president, he was becoming a brand. In Honduras, new laws mirrored El Salvador's state of exception. In Ecuador, plans emerged for a mega prison modeled on CECOT. In Kenya, citizens debated a similar crackdown on gangs. The Bukele effect, international headlines called it. To his supporters, he was proof that fear could restore order. To his critics, he was proof that democracy could die smiling. The ghost prisoners. Officially, CECOT holds 40,000 inmates. Unofficially, no one knows the real number. Whistleblowers describe shadow transfers. Prisoners moved at night, no records, no identities. Some say entire groups vanish after incidents inside. Bodies buried under the guise of administrative relocation. We don't log deaths, said one ex-guard. We log silence. Human rights groups demanded access. None was granted. Families continued searching. No lists, no confirmations, no answers. Rumors spread that parts of the prison are sealed off entirely. Experimental wings where isolation never ends. Bukele built a system so efficient, said one lawyer. It doesn't even need truth anymore. The mind of a nation. Outside the walls, El Salvador has changed. Crime is down. Streets are clean. Tourism is booming. But something else is spreading, a quiet obedience. People speak of Bukele like a saint, a savior. His face appears on murals, t-shirts, even school notebooks. The fear that once came from gangs now comes from the government's silence. Citizens avoid speaking politics. Journalists self-censor. Critics disappear into bureaucracy. Their names erased, not jailed. Bukele's dream of a nation without fear came true. But so did his prophecy. To build peace, we must first master control. In El Salvador today, peace and control are the same word. And CECOT, the Supermax prison, isn't just a building. It's an idea. The myth of safety. Visual. Street footage of San Salvador at night, neon lights, children playing soccer, couples eating pupusas in peace. Then fade to the prison walls in the distance. To the world, El Salvador looks reborn. The murder rate has dropped to one of the lowest in Latin America. Tourism ads call it the new El Salvador, safe, clean, and free. But beneath the calm surface, the silence feels heavy, rehearsed. In interviews, citizens praise Bukele, but choose their words carefully. Smiles hide tension. Eyes flick toward cameras. Before we feared gangs, says one vendor. Now we fear the government's attention. Inside CECOT, the illusion of peace is carved from concrete. Every man imprisoned there is proof of order, whether guilty or not. Critics say the statistics are built on mass detentions and invisible graves. Yet most Salvadorans defend the system. We'd rather live afraid of the government, one taxi driver said, than die afraid of gangs. It's a cruel trade, safety for silence. And for now, most choose silence. The mothers outside the walls. Some cry, some pray, some just stare. Every morning, buses arrive carrying mothers from across the country. They line the fences, hoping for a glimpse, a rumor, a word. Some have been coming for 2 years. No visits, no phone calls, no answers. The guards say nothing. The walls give nothing. One woman whispers to a reporter, "They took my son because he had tattoos. He worked at a bakery. That was his crime." She lifts his photo, a teenager smiling, holding a cake. The official record lists him as detained for affiliation. But affiliation can mean anything. A friend, a look, a past address. When asked if she's angry, she shakes her head. "No, I'm afraid." And in this country, fear is stronger than anger. For every prisoner inside, there's a mother outside. And between them stands the wall that keeps the illusion alive. The prisoners who spoke. In 2024, several smuggled videos leaked from inside CECOT. The footage was grainy, silent, shaky. But what it revealed shook the narrative. One inmate's voice whispered, "They say we are terrorists. Maybe we were once. But this place, it turns everyone into ghosts." Another showed prisoners eating from buckets, others collapsing from exhaustion. A final clip, only seconds long, showed a man repeating one word. "Perdón, perdón, forgive me." The government dismissed the videos as fabrications. Accounts sharing them were deleted. But the images spread faster than censorship could follow. Even people who supported Bukele began to ask questions. If this was peace, why did it look like despair? The world reacts. Outside El Salvador, the world was divided. Human Rights Watch called CECOT a mass human rights violation disguised as order. The United Nations demanded access, calling the prison a potential crime against humanity. Amnesty International compared it to Guantanamo Bay, only larger, colder, more efficient. But online, Bukele's supporters grew louder. Millions of comments hailed him as the only leader who fixed crime. Hashtags trended. Hashtag Bukele 2024, hashtag The New Order, hashtag Make the World Safe. He became an influencer president, lived tweeting arrests, posting drone shots, trolling critics. He didn't just win elections. He won the algorithm. The future belongs to those who can control both fear and the feed. One journalist wrote, and CECOT was the ultimate proof of that power. A prison that looked like salvation even when it wasn't. The future of fear. Decades from now, historians will debate whether Nayib Bukele saved El Salvador or changed it forever. What cannot be denied is this. He built something the world had never seen. A place where crime, politics, and technology merged into one word, control. Inside the walls of CECOT, tens of thousands of men live in silence. Outside, millions live in quiet admiration and quiet fear. El Salvador streets are safer than they've been in a generation. But its democracy, its soul, its humanity, those remain behind bars. When you lock away every danger, says one activist, you also lock away every doubt. And a nation without doubt is not free, it's obedient. As the camera fades to black, a single sound echoes. The closing of a steel door.
What you just saw is more than a story. It's a reality lived by thousands behind bars. If you believe in uncovering the truth, the kind hidden behind concrete walls and silence, then join us. Subscribe to Behind Bars TV and never miss a chapter in the world's most dangerous stories. Until next time, stay aware, stay informed, and remember, Freedom and confinement are sometimes only a wall apart.